Hi everyone, thank you for joining me for today's Success Skills Workshop video. My name is Marianne Kuchik, and I'm the manager of the Tutoring and Academic Success Center at Cleveland State University. I'm also part of a team made up of members from CSU Enrollment Management and Student Success Departments, and we present on different topics related to academic skills like meeting goals, time management, note-taking, etc. And we do these throughout each semester. Today's presentation is a recorded version of one that took place in fall 2020. It focused on stress management, time or test taking strategies, memory and concentration. During this presentation, we'll do a few short activities, and one of the materials associated with this presentation is a fill in the blank worksheet. I invite you to use it to follow along and fill it in as you learn new things. So let's get started. Our goals for today's presentation are to know what you need for a healthy brain and memory and different ways to manage stress, to know many new skills for improving your memory, to know many new study skills, and to know new skills to tackle your quiz and exam questions. So you're in your classes, you're taking 12 to 16 credit hours. Some classes are for your major, some are not. Some are subjects you've never taken before, some are. How do you remember all this stuff? Well, let's start by taking a memory test and see how well you do with remembering. So this is a short-term memory test. I'm going to click the start button and a group of pictures will appear on the screen for about 30 seconds. After 30 seconds, you'll be redirected away from that screen. When we get to that page, I'm going to have you write down all the items that you can remember seeing. No cheating. Don't pause it and write everything down. This is just for your own personal use to see how good your memory really is. All right, grab a pen and pencil and paper. And I'm going to click start and be ready to view these items for 30 seconds. Go. All right, go ahead and write down all the names of the pictures that you can remember seeing. Just take a few minutes. In one more minute, I'm going to click the See Picture button and we'll see how many items you were able to remember. Go ahead and keep writing. There's no rush. All right, I'm going to click See Picture. All right, so here are the items that you saw. How many of them did you get? There are 20 total. Did you get 5, 10, 15, 20? In what ways did you help yourself remember what you saw? Were there any tips or similarities or ways that you were able to group these items to help you remember? I remember when I did this the first time, I looked for items that were similar. And for me, it was all the office items. So there's a pencil, a chair, a clock, a phone, things that you would see in an office. And then in my head, I pictured things that were nearby to add a few additional items. So now we'll return back to our presentation. A good start for some tips for your health and memory are exercising your body, which also exercises your brain. Another important one is improving your memory by sleeping. So the National Sleep Foundation recommends that young adults and adults get about 7 to 9 hours of sleep. Another tip that can help you work towards a healthy memory is that positive relationships stimulate our brain. That can be making meaningful relationships and a support system here at Cleveland State, using a service like Success Coaching, trying to stay connected in our remote environment, whether it's using text messages or video calls to connect with your family and friends, using social media in a healthy way, staying connected with your classmates, whether it's discussion boards or Zoom study sessions, connecting with your instructors during office hours, connecting with other resources on campus. Did you know that you have a librarian at the Cleveland State Library specifically for your major? Have you met your academic advisor? Have you connected with a tutor at the Tutoring and Academic Success Center? These are all positive relationships, especially ones that are focused on your education, that can help you also have a healthy brain and memory. Here's a little bit more information about the success coaching that I mentioned. So success coaches are peers that are trained to help you with things like note-taking, study skills, reading, time management, test taking, test anxiety, organization, stress management, memory and concentration. They can help you identify your learning style, and they can help you practice all of these things. Sometimes students do not have someone at home who understands what they're going through related to their education. A success coach is a cheerleader, an accountability partner, someone that can help you learn new skills. Sometimes people meet with a coach each week. Sometimes they just meet them here or there as needed. But I'd strongly suggest scheduling an appointment and giving a success coach a try. So another tip for healthy memory is related to eating brain-boosting foods. So sometimes when people picture comfort foods, the things that make them feel good when they're stressed out, it's things like pizza, candy, pop. They make you feel good, but they're not necessarily good for you. Brain boosting foods are things like things in these pictures. They have antioxidants, they have good fats, vitamins, they're high in fiber, things like fruits and vegetables. Avocado is there with a healthy fat, different types of seeds, things that taste good and are good for you. Another tip for a healthy memory is keeping your stress in check. So chronic stress can destroy your brain cells. It damages the region of your brain that is involved with the formation of new memories and the retrieval of old ones. So this is probably what your life looks like right now. You've got work and homework. Bills are due. You're trying to be a good student, but you're accountable to your family, friends. There's a lot of pressures weighing on you. And for pretty much every person, stress is a natural part of life, but how you handle it is what makes the difference. Unmanaged stress keeps your immune system from working at full capacity. This can make you more susceptible to different types of conditions, and over the long term, chronic stress adds up and can hurt your body physically and even mentally with things like anxiety and depression. So some stress is motivating. In the little graphic here, it shows that there is a point where stress does motivate you and enhance your performance. And that's where like it gives you a push, gives you a rush, you're working hard, gives you a little boost in your performance. There's like adrenaline that gets you going. But there is a point where that becomes like a negative. It's called distress. After a certain point, it has a negative effect and our performance drops. There's a certain point, and it probably changes day to day, and it changes person to person. But you'll hit that point, and then your performance will drop off. But the trick is trying to manage where that point is, and different stress factors will add up on different days to contribute to whether or not stress is helping or hurting you. So the best thing to do is to work with different type of management strategies. So some strategies that I found are to think positively and to be hopeful. A quote I found while I was researching was to hang out with positive thinkers, friends or colleagues who are almost always positive. In fact, those that see possibility in impossibility. People that are always looking on the bright side of things. They're always trying to be positive and hopeful. Surround yourself with those kinds of people. Make a list of things that you have accomplished or achieved in the past. You've made it here to Cleveland State, and that probably required some hard work, some different types of achievements that you had to work towards. So make a list of the things that you have done to help you manage the stress that you're looking at now. Smiling can help. Sometimes they say fake it till you make it, or that if you smile, it makes you feel better. So it's worth a shot. And then also keeping a regular routine, especially in a remote environment, keeping a regular healthy routine where you get up at a certain time each day. You shower, you do homework, you do chores, keeping a routine versus just like laying around and taking advantage of the fact that you might not have as many commitments at this point. But keeping a regular healthy routine can help you feel better and manage your stress. When you're working, and especially doing your homework, it helps to keep the environment that you're working in comfortable. And that can be anything from a comfortable temperature to a noise level that is adequate to help you study, keeping your working area neat and tidy. And they say that like bright and colorful decorations or organization, or when you're highlighting using bright colors or keeping your work area with bright colors, can help cheer you up. And then get help if you need it, mentally and physically. I'm going to share 2 campus resources with you next that can help if you're feeling exceptionally stressed. So the first one is our Cleveland State University Counseling Center. At this point, they're providing online, group, individual, couples counseling, case management, and psychiatry. Here's some information about the days and the times that they're open. Everything is appointment-based. So they have call-in hours, they have call-in counseling, but the main number to note here is the 216-687-2277 if you need any sort of mental health assistance. Similar to that is the Health and Wellness Center. That provides healthcare both in person and remotely. These are the hours. They're located in the Medical Professionals Building, which is right across the street from the Student Center, and they're on the 2nd floor. You do have to call for an appointment either way, so note the 216-687-3649 phone number. But they can provide care for most illnesses or problems for which you would, see at a normal doctor. So another tip for healthy memory is a new strategy that I would like to share called abdominal breathing. So abdominal breathing is the basis for almost all meditation and relaxation techniques. It's a deliberate strategy to help you lower your stress levels, to reduce your blood pressure, regulate other bodily functions and processes. The steps that you see on the screen are the abdominal breathing technique provided by the Cleveland Clinic. So let's take a few minutes and try to do this together. I'll read to you and you just follow along. So for the abdominal breathing technique, the first thing that you would do is you would sit comfortably in your chair, your knees bent, and your shoulders and your head and your neck would stay relaxed. What I would suggest doing as the first time trying abdominal breathing is first place one hand on your chest and place your other hand on your belly. Then you'll breathe in slowly through your nose so that your stomach is moving out. But the hand on your chest should stay as still as possible. Tighten your stomach muscles, letting them fall inward as you exhale, and you're breathing through pursed lips. Again, the hand on your upper chest would remain as still as possible. So breathe in, your stomach moves out. Breathe out through pursed lips and your stomach moves in. Remember that the breathing in is through your nose. The breathing out is through your pursed lips. And that your rib cage is not moving, but your stomach is, or your belly is. And just take about 30 seconds to do this. The Cleveland Clinic mentions that you might notice an increased effort is needed to do this correctly. And at first, you might even get tired doing this exercise. But keep at it, and that with continued practice, this abdominal breathing would become easy and automatic for you. So another tip for a healthy memory is related to meditation. So meditation changes the actual brain. It encourages connections between your brain cells. It can improve your focus. It can improve your concentration, your creativity, your learning, your reasoning, a lot of good benefits. It's like a deliberate practice to reestablish yourself when you start to feel off track. So I'm going to pull up a guided meditation, a 1-minute guided meditation. This is using a source called mindful.org. They have lots of different guided meditations on here, but this is just a quick one. So I'm going to press play, listen to the guide. His name is Barry Boyce, and he'll lead you through guided meditation.
Brought to you by Mindful, helping millions of readers and listeners find peace, build focus, tame anxiety, and build a future based on kindness and compassion. Join us at mindful.org/newsletter.
Welcome to the Mindful Practice Podcast, short practices for a healthy mind and a healthy life. This is a 1-minute mindfulness meditation from Barry Boyce, Editor-in-Chief of Mindful.
This is a short practice intended for doing in the middle of the day, wherever you are out in the world. Begin by taking a seat, or if necessary, standing. The important thing is to feel where your body is touching the seat and touching the ground. So first of all, sense where your bottom is touching the seat. Sit up straight or stand straight but not stiff. Make sure your feet are completely touching the ground, connecting you to the earth. Your eyes are open, so take in the surroundings of where you are. Lower your gaze slightly. And now pay light attention to your breath as it goes out. At the end of the out-breath, let there be a gap while the in-breath is happening. And in that gap, you have natural awareness. It's there already. You don't have to create it. Follow the breath out. And out. And out. As thoughts arise, treat them as you would anything else you encounter. Notice it, and use that noticing to bring you back to the out-breath. And ride it out. Out, and out, and out.
All right. So again, that was a deliberate attempt at taking a few seconds, a minute or so, to bring yourself back to where you are, to reestablish yourself when you start to feel off track. So, now tips to improve your concentration specifically. You know that it's good to reduce external distractions, noise, if you have a roommate, maybe make an agreement that there are certain times that you will be quiet and that everybody can study. If maybe going to a different location, if it's easier for you to study in a library or a park, finding somewhere quiet, finding enjoyable ways to study. And for some people, that is doing stuff like listening to music, study partners or groups. It can be enjoyable to teach something to somebody else or make what you're learning into a song or a speech to help you practice. Similarly to the memory improvement, concentration can be improved if you also take care of your body. Fatigue and anxiety, those things, they limit your performance and how you're able to concentrate. So it is good to review shortly after you learn, ideally within about 24 hours. It's good to review in small doses with frequent breaks, setting the mood. You could try to recreate the physical situation where you might be taking a test. They say that memory is context dependent. So using the same kind of environment that you would be doing while taking the test can help you remember. Trying to memorize material for each class on a different day can be helpful. Reviewing right before you fall asleep can also be helpful. You can process new material while you're sleeping and then review it again when you wake up. It can also help if you involve as many senses as possible. Recite things out loud as you read, visualize new concepts or draw them out, and use different types of associations, which means making a link to something you already know. At the beginning of the presentation, you may have used basic associations to help you remember when you were doing the memory test. Remember that we can only remember about 5 to 7 items at a time. So learn and memorize in small pieces. Sometimes it helps if you organize items into groups. It can also help to use mnemonic devices. And I'm going to go over a whole bunch of different types of mnemonic devices in a minute, but those are clues that help us to remember things. They usually help us by associating what we want to remember with things that we already know. And similar to this, whatever you're trying to learn, try Googling for mnemonic devices that people have already created. Some examples are the order of operations, where people use please excuse my dear Aunt Sally to help remember, or learning the colors of the rainbow when you learn Roy G. Biv. Some people use the poem 30 days, has September, April, June, and November. All the rest have 31 except February, as a way to remember days in a month. Things like that. But again, Googling things that have been created, you will be so surprised by the types of mnemonic devices, drawings, things that people have created for organic chemistry or physics. So you don't have to recreate everything, but it's a good place to start. You can use rhymes and songs and jingles to help you remember when you're learning. You can puts the information in the form of like a poem, and that's where you use things like the 30 days has September example. I before E except after C, when sounded like A as a neighbor and way, helps you remember if the I comes before the E or the E comes before the I. Here's a picture of the McDonald's I'm loving it. That's something that if you heard I'm loving it, you would associate it back with McDonald's. Similar to that are acrostics and acronyms. That's where you're using poems or word puzzles or other compositions in which certain letters in line form words or a word or words. Here's that please excuse my dear Aunt Sally to help you remember. And then over here on the right is where I created a presentation best practices helper for the people in our division. So the word speak is made up of 5 things that are good to remember when you're presenting. Models and graphics are great. Graphic representation can help you recall information. Using note organization mnemonics to help you remember material, where you're using things like outlines, and then this picture on the right is called the Cornell system of note taking. The way that the textbook and lecture notes are organized can either help you recall information or inhibit you from learning well. So in that way, it can be considered like a memory device. Here's another image mnemonic I found online. That's when a picture helps promote recall of different information. Those are different types of cells. Spelling mnemonics. So in the word necessary, there's 1 collar, 2 sleeves, 1 C, 2 S's. So that can help people remember the word, how to spell necessary. Chunking is another reminder that we only remember information in small amounts. So that's often like breaking down a phone number or social security number to help you remember it. But no matter what strategy or device you use, it does come down to the fact that you're not relying on memory alone, that you are using deliberate strategies. So for whatever you're tackling, that means doing things like writing things down, breaking up a workload, blocking out your calendar, prioritizing by highlighting, working through an item at a time, and keeping whatever plan you're using to help you remember things and learn things updated as you go. So you've prepared, you've studied, you've memorized, you've remembered, you have a healthy brain, and it's the day before the test or a few days before the test. How do you feel before you start to take a test? Take a quick look at this little quiz. How many of those do you answer yes to? When you're getting ready to take a test, are you really nervous? So nervous that you miss some questions? Do you have physical symptoms? Do you walk out of the test and remember something that you knew but forgot while you were taking the test? According to this little test, 2 or more yeses would indicate that you have some form of test taking anxiety. And that shows you how common it would be. But by using some strategies, you can feel more confident about your preparation and your knowledge when you go in to take your next test, exam, or quiz. So the day or night before, it helps that you've taken the time to know the particulars of the test. You know the time, the place, the supplies that you need. Do you have that Zoom link ready? When it comes to final exam time, do you know that there's a different schedule for exams than there are for your regular class times, and they might not be the same? Have you confirmed the actual day and time of that test? If you are coming down to campus, have you packed up your stuff ahead of time? And then make sure that you're going to be ready to get plenty of sleep. Don't stay up late cramming at the last minute. So the day of the test, it's good to eat a moderate, nutritious meal, drink healthy fluids. Some people like to do things like coffee, but it's good to avoid excess caffeine and coffees, and just stay hydrated with some healthy fluids. Exercise, it can help increase your alertness, and it doesn't have to be anything really strenuous, just some gentle moving and stretching. Dress comfortably, arrive to your test location, or log onto your computer early so you're ready. Say some positive affirmations to yourself. Remind yourself that you have studied. Remind yourself of the time you've taken to prepare. If you get a little stressed out, use your abdominal breathing. And then now it's time to tackle the test. So some time management tips that can help improve your test taking skills. So if you're handed the test, I suggest quickly reviewing it and reading the directions. Create a plan of attack. If you have any questions, do not be afraid to ask, whether it's about the procedures of the test, the wording of the test. Ask right then so you've cleared it up, and then you can proceed. Stay in the moment. If you find yourself thinking ahead or thinking about what happens after the test or what happens if you don't pass the test, try to use your abdominal breathing for a few seconds to bring you back to where you are right then, which is taking the test. Take short breaks if needed, and take several deep breaths, and it'll help you refocus. So work on the easiest questions first and move on to questions worth the most points next. It can help if you use hints about some questions to answer others. Focus on the test itself. Don't focus on what's going on in the room, what's going on that other people are getting up and turning in their tests. Because sometimes the people that are turning in their tests the most quickly are the people who realize that they did not study, that there's no chance of them passing, and they're just going to turn it in. Watch your time. See how you're keeping up with your test taking plan. When it comes to multiple choice questions, there's usually 4 answers in a multiple choice question. And if you're able to eliminate 1 or 2 choices as wrong, that will increase your odds. So I suggest first reading the question twice. Try to answer the question first without looking at the answer. Then use that process of elimination. Like I said, if you're able to get 2 out of the way, then you're at a 50% chance that you're going to get it right. What I used to do in graduate school when I had multiple choice questions, especially because most of my classes were online, was I would write on a piece of notebook paper every question the letters of the answers. So question 1 has A, B, C, and D. And I would physically write those down on a piece of paper, and I would cross out A because I know that that's not right. And I would cross out C because I know that that's not right. And then I would reread the questions. I would reread the answers. I would think about the other questions I've answered, and if anything will help me providing a context clue. And then if I really couldn't decide, I would guess between the 2, or hopefully I would have been able to narrow it down to 1. But whatever you do, don't overthink it. When it comes to multiple choice questions, if you go with your first answer, it's usually the right one. When it comes to fill in the blanks. Look for keywords in the sentence that could trigger a response. I suggest that if you cannot think of the word, that you provide a descriptive answer. Sometimes an instructor will give you credit if you're able to provide the answer and they know that you're in the right direction and you just couldn't think of the keyword that went with it. It can help if you pay attention to the word immediately preceding the blank. So if the word is an and, you know that the response needs to also begin with a vowel. And that can again maybe help you narrow down what the answer might be. When it comes to short answer and essay questions, underline the keywords in the question to help you focus your attention. I suggest making a short outline, writing on your test or on a scrap piece of paper. Stick to the point and begin and end with a summary sentence to help you make a cohesive essay. In this environment, here are some extra tips for some online tests. I suggest finding a quiet place to take the test that will be free of interruptions for the whole time that you're taking the test. You should go to a place that you know will be quiet enough for the 1 or 2 hours that it's going to take the test. Do not enter the site until you are ready. Read all the directions carefully. That way you're able to know ahead of time whether or not you're able to jump from question to question, or if you're going to see only one question at a time, or if will be able to return to questions at the end. Those are all the things that can help you strategize your test attack plan. If possible, browse through the questions first and form that plan of attack. Once you have marked all your answers, I suggest reading them once more before submitting so that you haven't made a silly clicking error and you meant B instead of C, but you clicked accidentally. I've definitely come across some silly mistakes like that just by going back and rereading what I've submitted. And if anything goes wrong during the test taking process or you find errors, you need to tell the instructor immediately. Don't wait till you get to the end of the test and say, oh, well, I had a hard time with this. Immediately let the instructor know or contact them so that they have a documented issue on your test. And after the test, don't dwell on the test or the results. I suggest that you take a little bit of time to reward yourself. Don't throw away any old exams. Keep them. They may become useful for your final exam, or they may become useful for a future class. And then review the test when you get it back. Or if the instructor offers, make an appointment for some time to see the test and note the questions that you may have had trouble with. And it's also a great time to check in with the instructor. We're going to tie it all back. My mission for you is to commit to applying 2 things that you learned today. Remember that you can do this. You're capable. If you're taking the time to study and learn, you can do this. You can graduate. And especially in this environment, be kind to yourself and others. People have a lot of stuff going on personally, in addition to trying to be a great student. So be kind to yourself and be kind to others. And if you need any assistance, remember that the Tutoring and Academic Success Center, your advisors, the library, all these different resources are here for you. So take advantage of them while you're a Cleveland State student. Thank you for your time. I hope that you found this helpful, and keep a lookout for all our other future academic success skills workshops here at Cleveland State. Thank you.